Nate in Long Island. What's up, Nate?
I want to wish you congratulations and thank you for all of the years. You're an icon of the city and you'll be missed greatly.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Before I get to my point on the Yankees and Stanton, this might be like a bit of a random radio question. I always wondered, one of the things I always loved about you was the way you gave interviews. Do you prepare the questions beforehand, or are there people like in the back room?
I don't even know. No, I don't even know they're coming on until any of those guests today. None of them were guests I knew were coming on the show today. None of them. They were just
impromptu.
All impromptu. Every one of them. I didn't know any one of them was coming on the show today. Not one of them.
Wow. And that's across the business how it works, or?
DeRosa. I didn't know DeRosa was coming on. None of the Yankee stuff. Listen, in what we do, if you're going to be able to do it well, Nate, you have to be able to spontaneously be able to interview people. If you need preparation time to interview people that are in our business who are newsmakers, whether it's the Yankees make a trade, you put the player up, you put the manager up, you put the general manager up, you put whoever up. I mean, that is something you have to be able to do. You have to be well versed. And if you can't do that, I mean, you're going to have a hard time doing this job because things are going to happen immediate, and you can't say, no, I'm not prepared for that. And there are hosts who don't like anything to interfere. They don't want anything from an unprepared state. They want everything planned and taken care of. And that's a hard way to do the show, especially in the afternoon, especially in drive time, because a lot of stuff's going to happen spur of the moment. And when it does, you have to be ready for it. And that's just part of it. You have to be able to interview somebody at a minute's notice. Now, listen, there could be somebody. You're going to know the person for the most part, you expect. If it's somebody you don't know, you try and get a little quick information, then lean on whatever the other information you know is. I mean, if it's somebody who, might be in that field, or it's somebody that, has something to do with it, but you don't know that much about them personally, you just try to, find out what you can quickly and then just get into it. Sean in Piscataway, what's up, Sean?
Hey, what's up, Mike?
What's happening?
Hey, listen. I didn't like this trade from the first time I heard about it Saturday. Now, obviously, from a business perspective, it's a no-brainer.
It's a home run. They will sell a lot of tickets, no question.
Mike.
Listen.
Mike, I'm talking about asking Judge to move to left field. I'm talking about who's going to take $35 million of Ellsbury's contract. What are you going to do with Gardner? The chemistry in the locker room. Is this a rotation that's worthy of getting back to Game 7 of the ALCS, Mike?
No, they need. You see, the thing is, you just heard Cash say, and I think that was the important thing. There were two things you had to know out of this interview with Cash. Is number one, how he envisions the defense, and number two, are they still committed to being under the threshold? He told you they're completely committed to being under the threshold. They remain under the threshold. They can bring everybody back, but that does not leave them a lot of pitching leeway. They could use more, which means trade a Gaudy who's making $11 million. Get rid of a Headley. Get rid of, which I don't think they can. Get rid of a Ellsbury, which is the guy they want to get rid of badly. He's making 21.1, but remember, he's got a no trade, and he's got 3 years left on his contract. He's got $68 million coming to him. What team's going to take any part of that? To get him to take half, you're going to have to give him a prospect. Andy in Connecticut. What's up, Andy?
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
What's happening?
I can't believe the final week's finally here.
The final week is finally. We started talking about this 30 months ago. This day, and we are now 4 days away.
Yeah, well, thank you for all the years.
Well, thank you, everybody, and thank you too. But go ahead. What's up?
Question. I don't know if you saw the Giants. The beat reporters came out with kind of a small list of potential GMs.
No, I did not see it. Well, I don't know whose list you're alluding to, but let me hear it.
So one of them was the ex-guy from Detroit. But the one that caught my eye was the Patriots' vice president of players. And the reason they mentioned him might be a good fit because he would also bring in McDaniels.
I am not sold. Listen, the guys that are being mentioned a lot are guys who have certain Patriot backgrounds, and a lot of the guys have Patriot backgrounds. Like, I'll give an example. You have Paoli, who's got Patriot background. He's now with Dimitrov in Atlanta. He had Patriot background. He's got, he grew up a Giant fan. He was with the Jets. He's Bill Parcells' son-in-law. You have Ron Wolf's son. You have Gettleman, who was the ex-Giant, who was down in Carolina, who is available right now. You have Kyle O'Brien. Dr. O'Brien was on with me every weekend. His son, who was with the Patriots for 10 years, went to Jacksonville. Now he's the number 2 man in Detroit. They all know Kyle very well. Ernie, of course, he knows him very well. Chris Mara and John Mara know him very well. He was a guy who spent 10 years and was one of the top guys with the Patriots. Brought up completely under Bill Belichick for personnel. Brought up completely and schooled by Kyle was schooled by Bill Belichick all those years. So those, and there are more, but there's Polian's kid, there's Wolf's kid. You got a lot of these guys who dads were general managers. You got a lot of guys, so there's a lot of candidates from that standpoint, and a lot of them have Patriot backgrounds. The one thing, McDaniel to me is not a no-brainer. He already was a head coach. The Patriot guys, the Belichick guys have not been successful. It's not a no-brainer. Back after this.